Welcome to the Alcohol Reset, the podcast that helps you reset your habits, health, and relationship with alcohol without judgment or extremes. If you're looking to cut back, take a break, or just understand how drinking can affect your body and mind, you're in the right place. Each episode brings you science-backed insights on neuroscience, nutrition, and habit change to help you feel better, sleep deeper, and take control on your terms. I'm Mike Hardenbrook, best-selling author, neuroscience enthusiast, and habit change expert. I've helped thousands through my book and podcast to rethink their drinking, and now I'm here to help you do the same. Let's get started. Hey, it's Mike Hardenbrook here. Let's talk about something I bet you've heard, probably more than once, right? Maybe even while, swirling a glass of the good stuff. This idea that red wine's good for your heart. It's almost become this cultural cliche, hasn't it? Kind of like that uncle who always insists it's practically health food. But is there actually any real weight to that? Or is it just, another one of those health myths that seems to have stuck around for ages? That's what we're going to try and get into today, where you sort of cut through the romantic notions, the anecdotes, and see what the actual science is telling us about red wine and, our tickers. Now, this whole thing really kicked off back in the early 90s. You might remember hearing about the French paradox. The idea was, look at folks in France, eating rich cheese, buttery sauces, drinking wine, but somehow they seem to have lower rates of heart disease compared to people, say, in the US with similar diets. And red wine, specifically, got singled out like it was the potential hero in the story, mostly because of this compound found in grape skins, resveratrol. It's an antioxidant. Those things that help protect your cells from damage. So, okay, before you maybe reach for another glass thinking, great, I'm helping my heart. Or, on the flip side, feel guilty if you're skipping your usual pour. Let's just be really clear. This isn't about finger wagging or making anyone feel bad. Not at all. It's simply about getting to the heart of the matter, you could say. So let's uncork the research and see what it really tells us. Okay, so some of the initial studies. They did seem to hint that maybe light to moderate drinkers had a slightly lower chance of heart problems. Felt pretty good, right? Like maybe that little bit Cabernet we did was doing some good, but, and this is a big but, here's where things get a bit more, let's say, nuanced. And honestly, more interesting too. When researchers started digging a bit deeper, factoring in other parts of people's lives, like their overall diet, how much they exercise, even things like income level, well, a lot of the supposed benefits started to kind of evaporate, like a spilled glass of wine on a hot sidewalk, There was a pretty significant study actually published in JAMA Network Open back in 2022. And what it basically found was that those heartburn people associated with moderate drinking, they were much more likely connected to just a generally healthier lifestyle overall. Not really the wine itself. I mean, think about it, right? Someone who enjoys maybe one glass of wine with a nice meal, it might also be the kind of person who eats a lot of fresh food, gets regular exercise, manages stress, generally takes care of himself. So was it the vino or was it the whole shebang? The evidence is leaning more and more towards the whole lifestyle package. And these researchers, they use some pretty sophisticated statistical methods to try to account for those other healthy habits, which, adds a bit more confidence to what they found. And here's something else to think about, something that might actually surprise you. Even if you are sticking to just, say, 1 or 2 drinks a day, it could still potentially impact your blood pressure. A study in the journal Hypertension in 2023, it actually showed that even what we call light to moderate alcohol intake was enough to cause a little rise in systolic blood pressure. That's the top number, when you get your blood pressure checked. So if you're reaching for that red wine thinking it's a heart helper, but it's also kind of subtly nudging your blood pressure up, well, you might be accidentally undermining your own efforts there. See. Now, what about resveratrol? Let's circle back to that antioxidant superstar we mentioned. Okay, yes, in a lab it shows some interesting properties, no doubt. But the actual amount you get from a normal glass of wine, it's likely so tiny, really minuscule. Probably not enough to make any real difference to your heart health. You probably have to, swim in the stuff to get a dose that might matter. And let's be honest, at that point, cardiovascular health probably isn't your biggest worry. So while resveratrol is an antioxidant, the delivery method of wine just makes it really hard to get enough to have a therapeutic effect. The good news, though, you can get similar antioxidant benefits from just, eating grapes, blueberries, peanuts, even a simple cup of tea. And you get to skip the potential headache and other not so fun side effects that can come with alcohol. Because let's face it, while there might be some very, very marginal potential cardiovascular upsides linked to alcohol, the risks that come with drinking are pretty well established. We know this stuff. We're talking about increased risks for certain cancers, like breast and colon cancer, digital liver damage, of course, cognitive decline over the long term, even things like messing up your sleep and increasing inflammation in your body. So it's kind of a trade-off, isn't it? And arguably, maybe not a very smart one if your main reason for drinking is for health. So the million-dollar question, should you pour that last bit of wine down the drain? Well, not necessarily. Look, if you genuinely enjoy wine responsibly, maybe as part of your social life or just because you appreciate the taste, well, that's a personal decision. But if you're sort of relying on that nightly glass as a real strategy for a healthier heart, it might be time to rethink that approach. Most health professionals now basically agree that the potential downsides of regular drinking, they likely outweigh any tiny cardiovascular benefit you might get, especially if you have any other health conditions going on. So what is the real secret sauce for a happy, healthy heart? But I'm not going to shock you. Really. It's those basic habits we hear about all the time, but, for good reason. A diet that's loaded with plants, fiber, healthy fats, getting your body moving regularly. Your heart's a muscle, right? It likes to work. Finding healthy ways to manage stress, and no, that doesn't automatically mean reaching for a drink. Making quality sleep a real priority. That's huge. And of course, keeping an eye on things like your blood pressure, your cholesterol, your blood sugar levels. Those are the real MVPs, the foundational things for heart health. Now, if you do enjoy an occasional glass of wine and you want to give your body a little extra support, there are certain nutrients that can be helpful. For instance, vitamin B6. It plays a role in keeping an amino acid called homocysteine at healthy levels in your blood. Homocysteine has been linked to heart problems, and alcohol can actually deplete your B6. So something to keep in mind if you drink regularly. Magnesium is another one. Kind of an unsung hero. It helps your blood vessels relax, supports healthy blood pressure, and it's involved in tons of other things, including helping you, wind down in the evening. Actually, you can find both of those, vitamin B6 and magnesium, in our Cloud9 Rise and Unwind PM. It's a supplement we designed specifically to support relaxation and balance, especially for those evenings. Now, it's definitely not a substitute for all those healthy habits we just talked about, not at all. But it can be a helpful addition, particularly if you enjoy a drink now and then. So here's the main takeaway, really. While that idea of red wine being some kind of, magic heart potion is definitely appealing, the science just doesn't really hold it up, that strongly anyway. The potential benefits are likely quite small, often overshadowed by the risks we know come with drinking alcohol. It's much more empowering, I think, to put your energy into those proven evidence-based strategies. The diet, the exercise, the stress management, the sleep. That's the stuff that really builds a strong and healthy heart. So here's to making informed choices. Choices that truly nourish you. That's a wrap for today's episode. If you got something out of this, do me a quick favor, leave a rating and review on whatever podcast platform you're listening on. It helps keep the show going and would mean the world to me. Got ideas, comments, or questions? Shoot me an email at mike@trycloud9.com. I'd love to hear from you. And if you're looking for extra support, check out Cloud9, makers of Daily Restore, a once-a-day supplement to support your body from alcohol's effects, and Rise and Unwind AM/PM, a 24-hour combo to curb cravings, balance mood, and improve sleep when taking a break. Go to trycloud9.com and use the code PODCAST to save 15% on your next order. Thanks for listening, and I'll catch you next time.